He texted you every morning, called you beautiful, made plans for the future, and then one day he just stopped. And you're lying awake at 2 a.m., wondering what you did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong, and I'm going to explain what happened. I'm a man, and I've been that guy, the one who pursued intensely and then vanished. And I've watched my father do it. I've watched my friends do it, and I understand the psychology behind it in a way most men will never admit out loud. By the end of this video, you'll understand what was real, what changed, and why it had nothing to do with you. I know clarity is gold. Let me give you some. Let's set the scene. Because I need you to know I see exactly what happened to you. He came on strong, like really strong. Good morning texts, good night texts, long phone calls. He wanted to see you constantly. Multiple times a week he talked about the future, where he'd take you, things you'd do together, how he'd never felt this way before. He said you were different, special, that he'd been looking for someone like you. He made you feel chosen, seen, like finally, someone got you. And you didn't think you were crazy for believing it, because why would someone say all of that if they didn't mean it? So you let yourself fall, because everything he was doing said, I'm falling too. Then it shifted. Maybe gradually, maybe suddenly. The texts got shorter. The calls got less frequent. Plans started getting canceled. I'm swamped at work. I've got family stuff. I'm just really stressed right now. And you understood, because you're understanding. You gave him space. You didn't want to be needy. You didn't want to be too much. But the space never ended. He just faded. And now you're sitting here wondering, what happened? Was any of it real? What did I do? Why wasn't I enough? And you've been replaying every conversation, every text, every moment, trying to find where you messed up. Here's what I need you to hear first, before I explain anything else. It was real. What you felt from him at the beginning, that intensity, that excitement, that connection, it was real. He wasn't faking it. He wasn't running a game. In those moments, he meant everything he said. I know that's confusing, because if it was real, how could he just disappear? How could someone go from I can't wait to see you to I need space in 3 weeks? Here's the truth most men won't tell you. We can be completely sincere in the moment and completely gone the next. Not because we're liars, but because we confuse intensity with depth. And when the intensity fades, we think the connection is gone. Let me explain what happens in a man's brain during that pursuit phase. When we meet someone we're attracted to, our brain floods with dopamine, the same chemical you get from drugs, from gambling, from anything that gives you a high, and that high feels like love. It feels like this is it. It feels like certainty. So we pursue hard, because the pursuit itself is giving us that chemical rush. Every text you send back, every time you laugh at our jokes, every time you say yes to seeing us, that's a hit of dopamine. And we chase that feeling. But here's the problem. Dopamine isn't sustainable. It's a novelty drug. It spikes when things are new, uncertain, exciting, and it crashes when things become familiar. So what felt like, I've never felt this way before, in week 2 starts to feel like, I don't feel anything by week 6. Not because you changed, but because his brain chemistry did. And most men don't understand this. We don't know we're chasing a feeling, not a person. So when the feeling fades, we think the connection was wrong. We think maybe she's not the one. we think something's missing. We don't realize the only thing missing is the chemical high we got from the chase. And now that you're no longer uncertain, no longer a mystery, no longer new, our brain isn't giving us that hit anymore. So we pull back, not consciously, not strategically. We just stop feeling it, and we don't know how to explain that. So we disappear. Here's the second part, and this one's harder to hear. When he was pursuing you, he was pursuing a feeling, not a relationship. He was pursuing the version of you that existed in his head, the fantasy, the potential, the idea of what you could be together. But he never actually asked himself, do I have the emotional capacity for this? Am I actually ready for a relationship? Do I want the reality of partnership or just the high of the chase? And the answer, if he'd been honest, was, I just want the feeling. But he didn't know that yet, so he kept pursuing, kept saying the things that felt true in the moment, kept making promises he genuinely thought he'd keep, until reality set in, until you became a real person with real needs and real emotions and real expectations. And he realized, I don't actually want this, I wanted the idea of this. And instead of saying that, because saying that requires self-awareness and emotional honesty and the ability to tolerate disappointing you, he just faded. Because disappearing feels easier than being the bad guy. Ghosting feels kinder than saying, I pursued you before I knew what I was pursuing, and now I realize I don't want it. So you get silence, and you're left thinking you did something wrong, that you weren't enough, that you scared him away by being too available, too interested, too much. But here's the truth. You could have been less available, more mysterious, played harder to get, and the result would have been the same. Because the issue isn't you, it's that he was chasing a feeling he couldn't sustain. And no version of you could have given him that forever. Quick pause. If you're feeling this, I am building a channel for emotionally intelligent women. If you're recognizing your exact situation, hit subscribe. I decode male psychology from the inside because I've been that man. I know what we think, but won't say. Let's continue. If you're watching this and this is your story, I need you to hear this. You were not wrong to believe him. You were not stupid for falling. You were not naive for thinking it was real. Because it was real. In that moment, to him, it was real. And you responded to what he was showing you. That's not gullible. That's human. You didn't move too fast. You didn't catch feelings too quickly. You didn't scare him away by being yourself. He showed up intensely. You matched his energy. That's what you're supposed to do. You didn't create the intensity, you responded to it. And when he disappeared, that wasn't about you being too much. That was about him not being ready for what he was offering. Here's what I need you to release. The idea that you could have done something differently and he would have stayed. You couldn't have, because the problem wasn't your behavior. The problem was that he was offering something he didn't actually have to give. He was writing checks his emotional capacity couldn't cash. And you can't fix that. You can't be less to make him ready. You can't shrink to make him capable. You can't perform differently to make him emotionally available. The only thing that would have made him stay is if he had the capacity for what he was pursuing. And he didn't. That's not on you. I know you're sitting here wondering if you'll ever trust a man's pursuit again, if you'll ever believe someone who comes on strong, if you'll ever let yourself fall without fear that they'll disappear. And I don't have a good answer for you, because the truth is, some men pursue for the feeling, not the person. And you won't always know which one he is until he either stays or disappears. But here's what I do know. You didn't lose something real. You lost something that felt real. And that's painful. It's okay to grieve that it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to feel stupid even though you weren't. And it's okay to be angry at him for offering something he couldn't deliver, at yourself for believing it, at the situation for feeling so unfair. All of that is valid. But please don't let this make you smaller. Don't let this make you cautious with the next person who shows up honestly. Don't let one man's emotional immaturity make you close off your ability to receive love. Because the right man won't disappear when the dopamine fades. The right man will recognize that as the moment real intimacy begins. When the high wears off and you have to choose to build something real, and that man exists. But he's not the guy who disappeared. And no amount of you being different would have made him that guy. Get your journal or your phone notes, or yap to your friend. But wait, not what you think. Don't talk or write about him. Don't analyze what you did wrong. Don't make a list of red flags you missed. Think about this. The future I was imagining with him. What was I actually craving? Because sometimes we're not mourning the person. We're mourning the possibility. The life we started building in our head. The feeling of being chosen. The relief of not being alone anymore. And if you can identify what you are actually craving, you can give that to yourself. Or find it somewhere real. That's your homework. Not to fix this, not to prevent it next time, just to understand what you're really grieving. This is HerPsyche. I'm not here to make you feel better with pretty lies. I'm here to give you the truth from the inside. If this helped you make sense of what happened, subscribe. Next video, we're talking about the psychology behind "Let's take it slow" and what that actually means about his intentions. Drop a heart in the comments if you've experienced this. If he pursued hard and then vanished, you're not alone. And it wasn't your fault. Your rewiring starts here.